What we've got in Cornwall, which particularly works, is a strategic framework for delivery and then the delivery itself. So we're fortunate in Cornwall that we have been awarded convergence status, and through the convergence programme and the strategy set up through what's called Cornwall Works, led by Job Centre Plus, they recognised that there was a specific need for this specific client group of people living with learning disabilities, that they were facing multiple barriers to work and that something needed to be done about it. And thanks to £1.5 million worth of investment from the European Social Fund, co-financed by DWP and Job Centre Plus, we were able to make a huge amount of difference. So it was the strategy combined with what was able to be delivered on the ground through specialist providers that really made a difference, I'd like to think anyway. Because we were dealing with the client groups, specifically those with learning disabilities, we were able to actually focus provision, and we were able to actually say this is a particular group that has multiple barriers to work, and the government's own Valuing People Now document estimates that unemployment rates are running around 80%. So thanks to that ESF investment that we co-financed by Job Centre Plus, we could actually make a real difference in a way that hadn't been done before, which was unique, not only to Cornwall, but to the whole of England as well. Cornwall Works for Learning Disabilities was trying to support those with learning disabilities into work. Many of those had never experienced work at all, not even had work experience. So what we were trying to do was build confidence levels, understand their needs, what are their objectives, and support them on a pathway to employment. Our targets were to get 106 people into work, but to support 570 in all. So because this was a unique and it was a pilot project, we really felt that we could forge new ground. But it was only because of that ESF investment that allowed something different to take place that could be offered traditionally through mainstream provision. So as a result of that added value, we were able to just put in actual specialist provision, specialist job coaches, and above all we were able to just be patient. You were able to take your time. You needed to nurture that talent and build that confidence and get people into work, which is why in the end I think that also contributed to smashing targets. Well, Cornwall Works for Learning Disabilities is innovative, and that's the key word. You can try out different things all the time. It was a pilot, hadn't been done before. We could forge the new ground so that we could work with those people with learning disabilities, but importantly we could engage with the families as well, because you had to earn trust, you had to build confidence, and so often the son, the daughter, the brother, the sister, they're going to pay attention to what their family thinks. So it was not enough to go after the individual, but you had to be a bit qualitative about it and actually engage the whole family as well, which is why it's so nice to see the next round of ESF highlighting the engaging families, and I think that's one nice legacy that's going to come out of Cornwall Works for Learning Disabilities. My message would be, go for it. Be courageous, be patient, show confidence in your client group. It's really, really important that when you're engaging with that client group, that you're engaging with the whole of the families, the carers, the whole support network. It really is a holistic approach, but to treat the individual as an individual. They've got particular talents that need to be nurtured, that confidence needed to be built from, and then you can actually achieve their objectives. Specifically in terms of practical help, employer engagement is absolutely key. There are multiple barriers faced by people with learning disabilities, and one of those is going to be the perceptions of employers. If you're going to get people with learning disabilities into work, it's key to work with employers to remove misconceptions, false views of that particular client group, and help them into work. It can really make a difference. Back up that support, that job coach support, where you can actually have a one-to-one relationship. Back it up with what we call an enabling fund as well, where we had a pot of money that could actually remove barriers. Being in Cornwall, rural transport, for example, was a particular problem. But with that enabling fund, you could pay for bus fares and rail fares, you could pay for taxi fares, you could pay for childcare, you could even pay for clothing to get them into interview or suitable work. It really made a difference. So it's helping that person, boosting their confidence, getting them into work, but actually having some financial clout in order to do it. And that was because of the co-financing ESF investment with Job Centre Plus. That's what made the difference, something different from the mainstream.